All right. What is
Yeah.
up, everyone? Good evening. Welcome to Tea with Doug G. If you don't know, my name is Doug Gooden, and I am so excited to welcome my incredible guest for the evening, Mr. Caleb Jiminez. Uh,
Hey.
yeah, uh, Caleb is an awesome guy. We met doing Wind Shape, which is not a, it's totally not a cult,
It's not cool.
but it is an incredibly fun experience. Yeah, and Caleb also, just to give you a little bit more introduction, Caleb also is the person responsible for my amazing Tea with Doug G logo,
Yes.
and it's absolutely incredible. So without further ado, Caleb, why don't you tell the folks who you are, what you do, all that jazz. As
I'm
you
just
duck
kidding. I'm
away
not going anywhere. Hi. Well, I'm Caleb. As our good friend Doug, this is awesome. Just said, I met him at camp, and so I have done several different things. I am an illustrator. I've been a communicator. I am a dancer. There's so many different things that I feel like have just come across my path. I think I just love creativity, and I love creating things. I think for the most part, that's kind of where I dwell and thrive. So yeah, that's a little bit
Yeah.
about me.
Yeah, and y'all, I'm telling y'all are in for a treat because Caleb's just an awesome guy, and we're gonna have a great conversation. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. All right, Caleb. First question of the night comes from friend of the show, friend of Viter Media as a whole, Ben Tankersley. He wants to know which fight is better, Aang versus Ozai or Korra versus Zahir.
Oh
Y'all, it's
my
been forever since
god.
we've been able to have a Avatar: The Last Airbender question on here. That poster in my background was getting
Triggered.
kind of lonely, but yeah, I mean, let's get it right out of the way. Which fight's better, Aang Ozai or Korra Zahir?
This is hard because I am biased, and my my roommate would hate me for this, but I personally loved Aang versus Ozai, and the reason why is purely nostalgia. That's it. Like, and I have no
Yeah,
shame whatsoever. But when you're a kid, and you're hearing about the last episode, you're thinking about the last episode, like you've been waiting for this your entire life. Like my parents and we would sit down and we would watch Avatar. Like this is a very dear thing to me and my family. So when that last episode came through and that fight, man, what you can't tell me. It was so good.
yeah, I'm gonna agree with you on this. I think Aang versus Ozai is a lot better, partly because the stakes are so much bigger,
Yes.
and also, every great fight has a great turning point. There's a great
Yes.
climax to a fight. And the climax in Korra Zahir is fine. It's all
Yes.
fine and good. But when you see Aang covered in rubble at the base of a mountain, Ozai with the voice of Mark Hamill is taunting
It's
him,
Mark Hamill.
and you just see Aang reach up and grab his beard.
Yes.
And it's
Yeah.
over.
It's over.
Over. The
Yeah.
fight's done.
Yes.
So yeah, I think Korra Zahir, great follow up, but Aang Ozai has it by far.
Yeah.
So yeah, Ben, great question to get us started off with.
Fantastic.
So Caleb, I know you came up with some questions for me, so why don't you hit me with one of the questions that you had?
Absolutely. I'll pull some of these up. My friend, if you could interview anyone, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
All right, so I'm gonna have two.
Okay.
They're both dead. I am playing like that, but they are both dead.
They're both dead.
One is one of, if not my favorite actors of all time, Chris Farley. I would love to interview that guy.
That's a really good one.
I think he just brought so much laughter and joy into the world, and I love his work. He's so incredible. And also, this is a really weird side point, but I found out because I watched a documentary on Chris Farley last week, like you do. He died exactly 1 year before I was born, like
Whoa.
on my birthday. I was like, oh man, that's really weird. So
what are you trying to say here, Doug?
I'm not saying it did not inflate my ego just a little bit. But yeah. The second person, oddly enough, it would be Roger Ebert. I think that Roger Ebert, just the way he looked at film is something that is beyond my comprehension. Like I love film. I love movies so much. I love to analyze them. Check out Saying the Skeen, my movie podcast that I host with a bunch of other great folks. Like I love film, but he understood the science behind it so much better than anyone else did. So it's gotta be him. If I had to pick a third, which I'm just
going to,
I'm going to. It would probably be Jim Henson.
Oh man!
Again, just someone who brought so much joy and laughter and creativity into the world. So yeah, those are my three guys: Ebert, Henson, and Farley.
Okay, ironically, not a lot of people know this, but as a child, I watched the Muppet movie like hundreds of times on VHS. Like, I know all the songs backwards. Like, it's. I'm like, not gonna say I'm obsessed with it, but
yeah. It's okay if you were. It's okay if you were.
Just a little. Yeah, really good.
Yeah. I absolutely adore the work of Jim Henson. He's phenomenal. All right, well, great question, Caleb. Moving on to a question of a mutual friend of ours, Mr. Carter Hayes.
Stop.
By the sheer weirdness of this question, I have to ask it. So Carter, for some strange unknown reason, wants to know who would win in a fight, a taco or a grilled cheese. I don't know what that means, but Caleb, who wins in a fight, a taco or a grilled cheese?
Well,
wait. I think first we have to establish, is a taco a sandwich?
All of my Hispanic heritage would tell me no. So so no. I think it'd be wrong not to understand the depths of this question, because our dear friend Carter Hayes is referencing something that we love. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Hot Rod. I love the movie Hot Rod, and that's what I'm talking about.
I have not seen Hot Rod. It's one that keeps getting recommended to. I've tried to watch it like 2 or 3 times. I just can't get through it. And I love the Lonely Islands movies, but I can't get through it.
It's ridiculous.
But yeah.
So, me personally, a taco or a hot. Okay, I'm gonna say a hot. I'm gonna say a taco, and I'm gonna say a taco for this reason alone. I think that the shell of a taco is not something to be taken granted for. I think that a taco can be either soft or hard, right? So if it were a hard shell taco, there's a lot of things that go into that. I don't know. It could be very dangerous. But if it's a soft taco, I'm gonna say the hot dog.
Okay.
How about that?
That answer makes about as much sense as the question that was asked. So yeah, great question, Carter.
Thank you, Carter.
Thanks for that. So yeah, all right, Caleb, I'm gonna let you hit me with a question that makes sense. Hopefully,
I love Carter with all my heart.
Oh, yeah, Carter's phenomenal.
All right. All right, I have a really good one, and I think you're gonna like this one a lot. If you had to choose between looking like Jar Jar Binks or sounding like Jar Jar Binks, what would you choose and why?
Dear Lord, Caleb. I actually had my answer for this before we started. I was gonna say sound like Jar Jar Binks, but now I don't know if that holds up. My gut reaction is to say sound like Jar Jar Binks, but maybe it would be better to look like him. I don't
Mhm.
know. I mean, I'm 6 foot, but like I'm kind of like I'm a stocky 6 foot, and
Yeah.
I think Jar Jar Binks is easily like 8 feet tall, and
Hmm.
granted, he's a very gangly individual. Um,
Very highly.
yeah, yeah. And I'm assuming if you look like him, you're also like semi-aquatic, so
Yeah.
like you can breathe underwater, which I'm totally
Yeah.
here for. Like
Yeah.
that's legit. Probably like that like cuts out one of my top three least favorite ways I can think of to die.
There you
Because
go. Oh
I'm
my god.
not a fan of drowning. So that cuts that out. My mom is asking me in the chat. She's saying that she would like for me to sound like Jar Jar, and I
Mm.
feel that, but I think I'm gonna go look like Jar Jar.
Okay. Yeah. No, there's some perks to it. Well, you gotta think about this too. If you look like Jar Jar Binks in our like time,
Hmm.
you would immediately become famous.
Oh
Hands down.
yeah,
Hands down.
hardcore.
Like too easy.
Yeah. And, if you're a really like diehard Star Wars fan, you can go on and confirm the Darth Jar Jar theory, which
Exactly.
everyone can get behind.
Oh yeah,
Ev-
there's no loss.
yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
loss.
Yeah, I'm here for looking like
Looks
Jar
like
Jar.
Jar Jar. Things
I'm
you
here
never thought
for
you'd say in 2020.
it. They were yeah. Yep. All right.
Oh,
All right. So Caleb, I have another question from another mutual friend of ours, Mr. Jake
okay.
McMillan.
Love it.
So Jake, so he asked, he says, and I quote, Caleb, my brother,
Mm.
give us your absolute favorite one-liner from the best movie of all time, and then I have a follow-up question for that I'm gonna hit you with afterwards. And I'm
Jake,
gonna
this is
go
gonna.
on and tell you my favorite line from one of the best movies ever made. I can't say on here because it breaks one of my two rules.
Oh. That's awesome. So Jake knows that we share a favorite movie, and this
Mm,
movie is Nacho Libre.
yes,
I
quality
adore
film, high quality film.
high quality cinema for sure. And out of all the beautiful, constructed lines in Nacho Libre, um, I would have to say there is a small snippet in one of his fights,
Mm.
where he's fighting someone and he latches onto another human being and he declares anaconda squeeze, and it is like everything in the world aligns to that moment. The world blacks out. Not just saying anaconda squeeze. And then there's a follow-up line later on, and this is my second, all right, because I need a second. It's when they're in the bathroom and he says, do you remember when I was in the ring and I used my strength to rip my blouse? And that is the funniest crap I've ever heard in my life. It's amazing. It's hard. So yeah.
Not a lot of people talk about that movie, but that movie really is funny as all get out. It's so good.
It's amazing.
Yeah. All right. So I do have a follow-up question for that.
Yes, please.
All right. So if that's one of your favorite lines from one of the best movies of all time, or one of your most favorite movies, what's one of your least favorite lines from one of your most favorite movies?
Least favorite lines, favorite movies. Oh my gosh, this is really hard. I guess I would say one of my favorite movies with the least favorite line that I had for it. This is a tough one.
I have one if you need some time to think.
Yes, please, go ahead.
All right, so I know that we both are fans of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Um,
Mm,
it's a quality film.
yes.
However, there is one line that I've just never liked. It's in the
Mm,
middle of the climax. Miles is the only Spider-Man left. He's going up against Kingpin,
mm,
and uh, I forget what line provokes it, but Miles says, "I am stopping this right now,"
mm-hmm.
and it's such
It's like,
a dumb
what?
line.
Who
It's
just
like I don't
responded?
need to hear that. I know that's what you're gonna do. Like I don't
Ah,
need you to tell it to
ah.
me. Um.
Um,
So yeah,
that's amazing. Uh, yeah, that's there's a couple throwaways in there. I'm not gonna lie. I love that movie, by the way.
yeah.
Um, I think I have something. Um, this is old school, so not a lot of people know what I'm talking about when I talk about this, and it might be a really good transition point. But back in the day, I used to watch the Jim Henson Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie,
Mm.
and in specific, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2: Secret of the Ooze. Uh,
Quality film.
Quality film,
Quality.
A1. Okay, uh, and it is anything that the Shredder says ever. If the Shredder speaks, it's a bad line, hands down. It's not good. It's not
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. No, I feel that. Well, you're absolutely right. That's a great transition point. So once again, Ben Tankersley comes in with a great question.
Thank you, Ben.
So Ben wants to know who wins in a fight, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Oh my gosh! Wow,
And
this is actually
I'm just gonna take this little bit of time to say that this is a fight that has happened,
yes. This is
both
real.
on screen and in comic book pages. I have not read the comics, but I do know that on screen it was a draw every single
Yes,
time,
yes.
and it was when they had the fifth Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle.
Thank you.
That's right. That's a deep cut for you.
They needed an extra turtle for the fight.
Yeah. It had to be. It had to be even. It had to be an even distribution of people.
That's really funny. Um, this is hard because I grew up more towards the Ninja Turtles
Mm.
than I did the Power Rangers, but I have a great respect for the Rangers, and the reason why is because no one blows up like a Power Ranger.
That
You
is
can't. There's
absolutely
nothing in
right.
media. There is nothing that you could say that could tell me or convince me that anyone else ever, no Michael Bay movie that can blow up like the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
And because you bring that up, I think it makes my argument for me that the Rangers obviously win in this fight because the Turtles, granted they're like actually getting hit with swords and all this
Oh
stuff,
yeah,
and yeah. I'm sorry, you never see just turtles getting blown up left and right across the
period. That's
screen.
so true.
So it's got to be the Rangers because they can take more of a beating.
Just think about how high they fall when the Megazord gets blown up. Like,
Oh
like,
yeah,
like nobody thinks about this, but if ever the Megazord gets blown up, they literally just fall from like thousands of stories, and then and we're here. So
yeah.
I think just on that proves a point for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I think
Hmm.
Rangers get it every time.
Yeah,
Um, great stuff.
that's
All right,
so
well,
awesome.
Caleb, I'll throw it back to you. What's a question that you have for me?
Hmm. Let's see. Oh, you're gonna like this one. uh, boneless or bone in?
Bone in. It is always bone in chicken wings. Boneless chicken wings are not chicken wings. They are chicken nuggets that
They're
have
not
been
real.
tossed in sauce. Okay, I don't know if you saw this, but there was a video that was going around of this guy who stood before a city council and said, "We need to stop calling boneless wings boneless wings. They are chicken nuggets or cut up or cut up chicken tenders. They are not wings of any kind. No, it is bone-in chicken wings every single time. And if the argument is I don't want to get messy, well, you have napkins. You have
Why are
napkins.
you eating wings?
You can lick the sauce off your fingers if you want to have more fun with your life. Also, if you're not in a COVID world, if you are in a COVID world, I would probably recommend just stick with the napkins. But
Probably stick with the napkins.
But yeah, bone in, hands down. It's got to be bone
Hands down. See, this is why I respect you, Doug. I respect what you have to say. You're a man who can be trusted.
Thank you, Caleb.
You're welcome.
That really hits me deep. All right. So Caleb. Oh man. All right. So here is a question from a friend of the show, Katie Kajimi. Kate, you can always count on her for some quality questions. So she has a 2-part question for you. Mm-hmm. All right. So as you mentioned, you're a dancer. And Katie wants to know, what about dancing have you missed the most since COVID starting? How does that like change your your like dance career, like how you do what you do? Just speak to that.
I think that a big part of dance for me is the communal aspect of it. The idea of people coming together, and very much so the world that I've danced in is very much so I think a free form and kind of like a communication between others. So for example, I love to freestyle dance, and freestyle is essentially just it is communicating through dance, and it's taking that and then relaying it to someone else, and then someone picking up that language that you've kind of constructed and then relaying it back to you as well. And so it's hard because that setting isn't something that is happening all too often right now. There's a lot of I think just events being canceled, and a lot of people that are wary of just stepping into that kind of environment. And so it is a little sad in that aspect, but I think also it's a good chance to kind of train and to work with the people that you do have around you. So me and my roommates, we dance all the time, and we are planning to do like different events that are maybe more so suited to a smaller environment, so that way certain people can enjoy it. And so, but yeah, man, I think that's the biggest thing that I miss is just the people, man. It's hard. It's hard when you're dancing alone in your room.
Yeah, man. Trust me, as someone who did 8 dance videos at the start of COVID, I know what you mean, man.
I feel it.
It's something. Well, kind of a part 2 to Katie's question. She wants to know, so something you also do is you also do some choreography for various groups of people. And Kate wants to know, what's the one song that you absolutely want to choreograph at some point?
I would say I love very much so old school hip hop. Just like really chill, hangout vibes, nothing too crazy. So it'd probably be anything by A Tribe Called Quest. So if you ever had time, if anyone is a fan of hip hop whatsoever, it is like the fundamentals of fundamentals. That's what A Tribe Called Quest is. It's just, this is what it is what you're going to get. It's just good, chill beats and just great music. So anything to that. And then I guess outside of that, I would say, I don't know. Right now, Travis Scott is really popular. So
yeah, and he has a McDonald's sandwich. Apparently,
I think that would get a lot of buzz, but you'd have to sell yourself out. But
yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
But yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. All right. Well, great questions, Katie.
Yes.
Always always giving us the good stuff. Hi, David.
Hey, chat. What's going on, guys?
Yeah, hi, chat. Y'all are all looking amazing in there. All right, so Caleb, why don't you hit me with one of your questions? Or actually, I did a couple two-parters back to back. So why don't you hit me with two of your questions?
Okay, I can do that. All right. All right, this is
Caleb. I'm sorry to cut you off. Caleb, have we done this? Have we had a dance off?
No.
Okay, I couldn't remember if we did that during camp or not.
Wait, that's a lie. That is a lie. I think we have.
I think we have too. I don't remember.
Either of us can remember.
I genuinely don't remember who won, but I do think we did one during camp.
Maybe for the kids.
It might have been for the kids.
Maybe for the kids.
If we did outside, I most definitely tried to do a split on asphalt, and it most definitely did not work. Also, sidebar, don't know if you knew this, but I have not been able to do a split since camp.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So I actually pulled my hamstring 3 separate times during camp, and have not been able to do a split since then. I tried to do one for a couple of my videos at the beginning of quarantine, and it was not happening.
It was not happening. Oh my god.
It was not happening. Friend. Yeah.
My friend.
On a much more
camp takes.
Oh yes, it does. On a much brighter note, Hannah Day says that she does remember this happening. So yeah.
So we did.
Yeah, we did. I have no idea who won. Hannah, if you remember who won,
please let us know.
Please let us know. All right, Caleb, I'll let you get back to it. So what were your questions?
Okay. Why don't we have any of this recorded? That's the issue.
I don't know. Because camp. Because it was camp.
Because camp. You're right.
Because we were too busy doing other stuff.
Okay. Let me see. I have a couple of questions here. Okay. Would you rather be a crouton or an asparagus, and why?
A crouton, because asparagus sucks. Asparagus is literally the worst vegetable on the face of this earth.
That's not even true.
Yes, it is. I despise asparagi. Asparaguses. I hate asparagus. It's croutons all the way.
I hate asparagus.
Yes. No, I hate asparagus.
Good to know. Good to know.
Well, David Cowan disagrees with me and says the eggplant is the worst vegetable of all time.
Eggplant is pretty rough, man.
Okay, quick sidebar about eggplant. My grandmother, when I was a kid, in order to get us to eat eggplant, she would take it and deep fry it, like a traditional, very Southern grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
Rip out all of that nutritional value, and she would serve it to us and say, "These are deep fried biscuits." And
Doug, it's really hard to hear you, friend.
Okay. Can you hear me better now? Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Frozen. It is very sad to me.
Hold up just a second. Hold up just a second. Let me see what I can do.
Let's see.
Can you hear me? All right, hold up. All right, we're gonna try and get Caleb back on in just a second. I think it probably is my connection, if we're being honest. But yeah, we're gonna try and get Caleb back on. Make sure everything is working all right. And addressing the chat, yeah, no, not a fan of asparagus. All right, there's Caleb. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right, sweet. I forgot what we were talking. Oh, okay. So anyway, my grandmother. So in order for her to get us to eat like vegetables and eggplant, she would deep fry it.
Specifically eggplant.
Yeah, specifically eggplant. She would deep fry it and tell us these are deep fried biscuits. And so I would eat them, and I would be like, oh yeah, that's right, I'm eating deep fried biscuits, I have no care in the world, I'm like 6, this is great. And then I found out that it was actually eggplant, and I felt so betrayed by my grandmother. I was like, I will never eat eggplant again. And that is what happened, and now Caleb is frozen for me. All right, well, it's not a Tea with Doug G without some technical difficulties, folks. So we are gonna try and get Caleb back in just a second. But yeah. In the meantime, all right, there's Caleb. All right, let's get him back on here. Not much. All right, I think we're good. I think the computer is telling us to move on from the eggplant question, or from the asparagus question. So hit me with your next question, Caleb.
All right, cool. All right. Okay, I think I have a good one.
All right.
Regular Lay's chips, are they a classic staple or are they a smelly nightmare?
All right, regular Lay's chips. I like regular Lay's chips. I'm a fan. I have plenty of friends who think that they reek and they're not there for them. And I've never experienced that. I've always thought, they're fine. They're just thin salt wafers, and they exist to make you very thirsty very fast.
That's very true. Doug, have you ever opened up a bag of Lay's chips to your face?
I mean, not recently, not in the last couple months, but probably at one point or another.
I have, on good authority, on high authority, that when you open up a bag of classic Lay's chips to your face, it indeed smells like fart. And I want you to, and the next time that you open a bag of Lay's chips classic, I want you to remember this conversation. And I want you to think about what you're doing. Because that's exactly what Lay's chips smells like.
Dear Lord, Caleb.
I don't know what it is. It's like, if you can have regular Lay's chips or barbecue, I choose barbecue every time.
Well, yeah, you choose barbecue, but that's not to say that, but I don't say that I choose barbecue just because they smell better. I choose barbecue because they, taste better and are better.
Yes.
I mean, in no way are regular Lay's my go-to chip flavor.
This is good.
It is what it is. All right. All right. So Caleb, I have another question for us. Again, from a mutual friend of ours, from Miss Joy Layfield.
Joy.
And yes, Joy. So Joy has a very long question, so I'm going to kind of break it up and give it to you in parts. All right. So the first question that she asks is, what is each of ours favorite, most impactful memory from working camp? Now, she says last summer, mainly because that was the summer when both of us worked together. But I'll open it up, since you've worked more camp than I have, if it's any year of camp at all. And I'm going to actually hold off on my answer until our last question, because it ties into my last question for you.
Okay. Man, there's so many moments in camp that were phenomenal, man. It's really, really hard to choose just one. Man, I think something that is really, really cool about camp, specifically our year of camp, was just the way people, I think, just treated each other, and the way that we kind of went about it. We were a really good team. A really, really, I don't, a lot of you guys don't know because you guys just hadn't experienced it yet. But I had never worked a summer like that before. It was definitely one of my favorites. So I guess a moment if I were to just choose one, I guess I don't know. Uh, this is so hard. This is this is like
You
choosing
you can
between.
give like a top three. You can give like
Okay,
a
okay. Um, I think hmm, our our guys' day was really cool. I really liked that day. Even though I got pelted by water balloons and they hurt
oh yeah, I
really
did too.
bad. They hurt-
And then I accidentally punched Danny Rudy like dead in the shoulder blade.
That's
And
amazing.
I love Danny, but as soon as that happened, I like ran back. I backpedaled as fast as possible because I love Danny, but I was like, Danny's also the person who could slug me in the face,
Oh
and I
yeah,
would be out cold.
yes, absolutely. She's a tough cookie for
Oh yeah,
sure. I think that I will also say Girls' Day was awesome too. I think
yeah.
we had so much fun. We played Murder in the Dark. That was hysterical. It was so funny playing Murder in the Dark with you guys. And people, I feel like not a lot of people understood what it took to set that up. And so the fact that we finally got to do it, it was amazing. So that was really cool. Um, Anytime we play four quarters was my favorite thing ever. I don't know if you remember, but I would take uh, a pool noodle and I would put shaving cream on the end, and then I would walk up to people and ask them if they had brushed their teeth. And smack them in the face with the pool noodle.
I only have one bad memory from four quarters.
Uh,
And that was the day that I decided to just kind of face plant into a plate of shaving, or not shaving cream, whipped cream. And then I had wet. Okay, for all of you watching this
who
right
don't
now,
know.
this is all right. First of all, four quarters is a game that we play at wind shaped camps. It's very messy. It's a lot of fun.
Yes.
And also just kind of a content warning. This is about to get just a little descriptive. I face planted into this plate of shaving cream
Mm-hmm.
because I was told to eat not shaving cream, whipped cream.
Whipped cream. Whipped cream.
I was told to eat the whipped cream the way a trout would because that was my animal group.
You sacrificed
And
the body.
I had whipped cream in my hair, in every single orifice around my face. And I don't know if you do this,
No.
but after about 30 minutes in the hot Texan sun, which is where we were, after about 30 minutes in the hot Texan sun, just having that much processed cream and sugar and dairy products on you does not provide a good experience to any of your senses.
To any of your senses.
I remember after lunch that day, I went out because there was a hose right behind our facilities. And so I went out and I literally got my volunteer. I was like, you need to just follow me, come out here. And we both walked around to this to this hose, and he sprayed me head to toe with just ice cold water. And our director Connor came up to me and was like, Doug, what you doing? I was like, Connor, you just need to give me a second. You just need to give me a second. I have sugar and dairy all
everywhere.
It is me at this point. Oh my gosh, that's my only.
Love that, though.
Oh yeah, they ate it up. That was my only bad experience with four quarters.
That's a good one.
Yeah. But yeah. All right, Caleb. I'll let you hit me with another question, and then I'm gonna give you my final question, and then we'll wrap it up for the night. Caleb. No. Caleb is gone. All right. You know, like I was saying, folks, it's always fun to have these little technical difficulties.
I don't know what's going on.
I don't either. It's okay.
We can do this.
It would not be Tea with Doug G without technical difficulties. Um so anyway, all right. So Caleb, so why don't you hit me with one more question, and then I have our final question for the night, and then we'll wrap it up.
Beautiful. Okay. So a lot of my good friends and my family, if you're around me long enough, you'll get asked these questions just because I think they're ridiculous. But they're called "She's perfect in every way" questions. Uh, and
I
so
was really hoping you would
I
ask
know it's
this.
gonna happen. It's gonna happen because it's good. And so, my question to you, my final question is: she's perfect in every way, but she has permanent Cheeto dust on her fingers. Deal breaker or not?
No, it's not a deal. It's really not a deal breaker.
Wow.
It's not. And I think you have
Mhm.
to look at this from a couple angles. One,
Okay.
do you plan on wearing a majority white clothing
Mm.
uh for most of your day-to-day life? I do not.
Mm.
I wear a lot of dark colors, granted, which isn't much better, but it's better than just having white, because
Mm.
if it's dark, you can kind of like bat it away and it'll
That's
kind of
true.
fade eventually. So I don't wear a whole lot of light colors, so I'm clear on
Yes,
that front.
that's good.
Also, I think you really need to look at this. Do you really like the taste of Cheetos? Because if you do,
If you do, you won.
I think you're still good. I think you're still good. Oh wow, that voice jump right there. Yeah, not a deal breaker for me. Not at all.
That's beautiful, Doug. I
Yeah.
hope one day you find the Cheeto-handed woman of your dreams.
I didn't say that. I said it wasn't a deal breaker.
That's a beautiful state. It's a sentiment that I respect you for. How about that?
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. So, Caleb, so my last question of the night. So, Joy asked us, what's your favorite memory from camp? And, Caleb, my favorite memory from camp is one night we had a worship night. And the way we did worship that night was you just danced for us. You danced to Kirk Franklin's My World Needs You.
Yeah, that was fun.
And it was like the most, I'm going to use the word visceral, and that probably doesn't sound like the best word to use, but it's the only word that comes to mind. It was like the most visceral like worship experience I've ever had, and I loved every single minute of it. So, Caleb, this is my question to you. What do you think separates worshiping via dance or via performance? How do you think that compares to what is traditionally defined as like worship? And like why do you think that one sticks out so much, is so much more impactful to some people than the other form is?
That's a good question. I think both are designed for very specific reasons, and specifically when it comes to dance and worship, it is a very personal. It's inescapably personal, because I think the setting of traditional worship provides a space for everyone to focus in a way that is very internal. Well, when you worship and dance, it's everything is external for sure. And so for me, when I'm in that space, whether it's choreographed or whether it's freestyle, especially freestyle, it's very hard to describe. It's letting go of a lot of the insecurity and a lot of the I think just mental awareness that you find yourself when you're in traditional settings, because when you're worshiping, you're thinking, I don't want to sing too loud, or I don't want to, I don't want to sing off key, or I don't want to stand too close to this person, or I don't want to. But with dance, there's kind of no room for any of that. It just is. And when people are around that, and when they see that, and when they experience it, and when they do it, there is a certain kind of connection that I think that you find. I think within yourself to kind of just let go, and only focus on the things that matter, which are you, and the Lord. And I think that for me, that is probably one of the greatest gifts I've ever been able to receive, is just that gift of being able to communicate that way, with God. It's something that I wish a lot more people would be able to experience. But yeah, it's awesome. Thank you for that question. That's a really great question.
Yeah, man. I think that's a phenomenal answer too. Like that is the one big thing that stuck out to me just from that entire summer, getting to spend it with y'all. Well, Caleb, I've had so much fun tonight. It's been absolutely phenomenal. The chat was alive and well tonight. Yes. Love to see it. Caleb, did you have a nice time? Did you have a good time? Did you have fun?
I love this. This is phenomenal. It's really, really cool, actually.
Well, good.
Never experienced anything like this, and who better to do it with than Doug G.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you. And to everyone watching, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Be sure to tune in next week.
Yes.
When my guest will be Miss Haley Beach Vaughn. She's an author. She's a playwright. She's phenomenal. And be sure to keep up with everything Viter Media is doing. We have a new episode of Setting the Skene on Wednesday and a new episode of The Flea Pit on Friday. Caleb, thank you so much for being on. And thank you again, everyone. For all us here at Tea with Doug G, my name is Doug Gooden, and this has been The Tea. Thank y'all very much. And y'all have a great night.